right, thank you guys for watching Secure the Bag. This has been Matt's last podcast. Say goodbye.
Hey, I'm in control here.
That's all right.
Look at me.
Look
at me. I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now. Hello there. Welcome to Secure the Bag. My name is Jackson, and I'm joined again by Matt and Anthony, and today we're doing episode 7 of Secure the Bag podcast. Today, we're talking about some pretty serious issues. Pedri's just been given a massive contract. Haaland's talking to Man City. And the big question we all want to know is, who should you pick for your fantasy football team in game week 8? Before we crack into those questions, we're just going to let Anthony say something. Anthony needs to apologize. So as you would have seen at the end of our last episode, Anthony made a call that he couldn't back up. You know, he put his faith in the wrong man. You know, it all went downhill from there.
Forgive me. I thought Messi was gonna do well in Paris. Well, how does a man not score 2 goals a game in Paris?
Well, there were 2 goals. 2 goals did happen.
Yeah.
They just weren't the goals you needed them to be.
For the viewers that don't know, if you haven't watched our last video, go watch it. And you said that Messi scored a brace and PSG ended up losing 2-0. So Anthony has something he wants to say to us. So we're going to get Anthony to look dead straight into the camera and say what he has to say.
Okay. So my forfeit was decided, and I am meant to say that. All right, here we go. So, if you really look at it in depth, Jose Mourinho. I can't do it, boys.
Go on, Anthony.
Right. Really
Think about the trophy comparison.
Trophy comparison. If you really look at it, Jose Mourinho was he was a better manager than Sir Alex Ferguson ever was. He was a better tactician. And I need a drink. Boys.
He feels dirty. He feels shame.
I feel unclean because it's probably this is not true.
Well, but the trophies.
Jose Mourinho was a better football manager than Sir Alex Ferguson. There, I've done it. Now, don't you ever put me in that position again.
Well, no, you put yourself in this position.
I'll quit the podcast. I will go into a deep state of depression, and you'll never hear from me again.
It was you. You did this. This was you.
I thought Messi was I still think Messi's the GOAT, but he's clearly not proving it in Paris.
Well, next time you should know better. Well,
mate, my hot take at the end of this episode is not going to be much better. I don't
think.
I'm very worried.
This is like the living reenactment of that Spider-Man meme where everyone's just like, it was you.
I don't think it's going to go very well, boys. I'm not going to lie. I have too much faith in Manchester United.
God damn it.
Oh,
well, let's crack into it then and get started on our game reactions. Well, Anthony, this wasn't the only, feeling of shame you had to deal with over the, since before the international break. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what happened against Everton?
Do I have to?
Yes.
I can lead you into it if you want.
It's part of the contract.
It's part of the contract. All right.
Yeah,
fine.
It's part of the contract.
I'm sorry, Mav. It's part of the contract. I've got to take it. United and Everton drew 1-1. I don't really want to say much more on it because I'm actually just a little embarrassed, right? Tony Marshall got a goal though, so
lucky goal.
I mean, we rested Pogba, we rested Ronaldo, we rested Sancho. Van der Beek is still on holidays apparently. Well, according to Ollie, he's still on holidays. I mean, we played our normal formation, like the 4-2-3-1. We had Bruno on the pitch. We had Greenwood on the pitch. Cavani, who was our main man last year, he was on there, but he didn't do anything really. I understand the need for a rest, but as much as I understand it just as less, right? Mm-hmm. So we're coming into an international break. Why does Ollie care about what does he care about international football? None of his players are Norwegian. So why does he care? Right? I mean, and De Gea admittedly had an okay game, right? And why bring on Ronaldo, Pogba, and Sancho in the 60th minute?
Exactly.
Like
it seemed
What's the point?
amateur. He rested these players like, oh, we'll have it easy. And then the moment it didn't look like an easy game, he was like, oh, I have to bring them on. He rushes them out.
It's like you're waiting to take off Fred to bring on Paul Pogba, who is one of the best creative midfielders on earth. Like he's had his ups and downs, but he really still is one of the best creative and visionary midfielders on earth. And that's pretty. You can't argue that. But he's waiting till the 70th minute when we need a goal. Right? There are a couple offsides. Right? But you're waiting till the 70th minute to bring on Pogba. You're waiting till the 57th minute to bring on. You're waiting an hour to bring on Ronaldo. He's one of the most natural goal scorers of all time. Of all time, you're waiting an hour to bring him on. If you're going to rest him, rest him. That man is in probably the best shape out of the entire United squad, and he's 36. He can put, if he's doing 30, he can do 90. I don't understand. I mean, we were it just nothing makes sense about that game at all. We played poor. I'm still Ollie in for now. But it's getting harder and harder every week to say that. Really, really is. Especially drawing at home.
I mean,
I thought that curse was lifted, but go on. I'm gonna get pissed. Go on.
The goal that was scored, we can't overlook that as well. I mean, Damari Gray that gets the ball from inside Everton's half, wrestles down the sideline into Decore to Andros Townsend, and then the pure shithousery Andros Townsend did straight to the corner.
Yeah, that was the disrespect, right? The disrespect.
That made my weekend. I bet
it did.
That whole counter attack started off with a Fred mistake.
Exactly. He got bullied off the ball.
I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to cry. But I mean, now that we brought it up, the tears are flowing, right? Fred, I don't understand this whole Fred. Let's pick Fred every week. Shit. McTominay's fine. I said it a few weeks ago. I like McTominay. I actually think he's probably, if he continues on this road and he gets as many minutes as he is, I think he's a really good successor to somebody like Michael Carrick. They play quite similar games. McTominay's got to work on his passing because he doesn't really know how to do that. But quite similar players in similar positions. But what's Van der Beek, even Matic next to McTominay, go defensive. Doesn't matter. Fred's not quality.
No, he's not.
And 50 mil.
Obviously, Ollie sees something in him. I mean, he's not performing the way Ollie sees him, but obviously he sees something to put him in the starting lineup each week.
I actually think it's a bit more of like a comfortability kind of thing, where he knows Fred is an okay footballer. He has his good days and he has more bad days than good, but he has his good days.
Yep.
But there's not. What? I just don't get it.
So Fred and McTominay are Ollie's men. They're his favourite players. He play
feels
them.
safe with that. He feels like I can see Ollie thinking to himself, and it might be his backroom staff as well telling him this. If you pick Van der Beek, he's not been playing. He's not match fit. If you pick Van der Beek, he's going to make a mistake and lead to a goal, right? But and then that in that same vein, Fred has been playing every week. He's more often than not. He's not doing bad, but he is. Right? All he's got to recognize, okay, maybe it's time to change it up. I think the formation suits as well. Even push like fucking anyone. Right? And now we're going to struggle even more. We're probably going to have to play Matic in this next week. I mean, we'll talk about it, but Maguire's still probably out. Varane's out. Like now we've got even less of a back line than we did with fucking Lindelof and Bailly. I'm done. I'm done. If we lose to Leicester, I
don't think you will. Leicester don't convince me.
Leicester at home.
Nah, they don't convince me. They looked pretty like tested by Norwich
Yeah, they did.
Like-
And Norwich played horribly. I remember that game.
Yeah, they're bad. And
Honestly,
injuries.
Injuries is we're getting plagued with injuries at United. Not as bad as Liverpool were last year. It's looking bad, right? Harry's only out for another couple of weeks. Varane's only out for probably 1 or 2 weeks, I think, at most. So it's not terrible, right? But our depth in midfield is stacked. We're stacked. Our depth up front is unrivaled in the Premier League. It's just that defensive position. I don't think Ollie should bring in a defensive mid, right? Yeah, he should. It's not necessary at the moment.
Although I've said this time and time again though, with every sport or sports over the world, like your attack could be great, your midfield could be excellent, could be banging, but defense wins games, defense wins premierships, defense wins tournaments. Yeah. So if you don't have a good defensive line, you guys are struggling with two subpar centre backs at the moment. Like,
and Ollie's got to get off this whole we have to wait till late to make a substitution. If it's not working, it's not working. Things aren't just going to miraculously change after an hour. After an hour, arguably it's going to get worse because now your opposition knows exactly how you're playing.
Yeah. And actually, I think this makes a really good segue to another one of the games this weekend. So you've mentioned subs there, and Ollie's subs at least came in. It came later than you needed. They probably needed to be halftime substitutions.
I agree.
For players that were quite poor. Against Brentford, West Ham didn't make a single substitution.
Wait,
we didn't make a single substitution in that game.
I feel better now.
Whose hot take was almost on the money there last week? I do remember Jackson laughing at me for saying that Brentford was going to draw with West Ham.
I mean, you were wrong.
I mean,
wrong.
I was pretty bloody close.
My hot take was more correct. I got to say, Ronaldo didn't score a goal that game week. I got to say,
he didn't score a goal that game week, but I mean, I backed the underdog.
You did. Brentford are a good team. They played really well against Liverpool 3-3, and they came into this game and we played it weird. We should have looked at how they were attacking and gone, this is naive. Let's counter-attack. Let's play defensive. But we played them in the midfield. We were trying to play from the back and they were quicker than us, better passing. We just approached that game wrong and then didn't make a single sub the whole game. Not one sub. How do you expect the game to change if you don't bring anyone off?
Yeah, I mean, in Brentford, look, when they beat Arsenal, we're like, okay, this is it. This is the fall of Arsenal. But now you got to say, okay, maybe Brentford deserve a little bit more credit because West Ham have been playing quite well. I wouldn't say it's the nicest and most attractive style of football, but they're winning.
Well, right games. Now it's not incredibly attractive because tired. Key players are tired.
Yeah, you guys don't have compare it to a City or a Chelsea or a United. You're not really used to playing European football.
Well, yeah, moving games to a Sunday and then having to play Thursday night. It's not great.
You almost need to maybe throw the FA. You need to throw one of the cups, maybe.
Well, we do that anyway.
You'll do that anyway. Okay.
And we're going to be out of the Carabao Cup because we're against Man City next. So that's done. We'll let the kids play that one.
That's the difference between a United supporter and a West Ham supporter. We would never throw anything ever.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. I think you threw this cup. I think you actually threw this cup.
Don't know what you're talking about.
No, that's true. Short memory. That's why. I bet he doesn't even remember the last time they won a trophy. That was 5 years ago.
I was going to bring it up, but I didn't want to violate it that much. So I was like, I'll stay back.
Yeah. But no, yeah. West Ham players looked tired. Kurt Zuma played well. The back line was still very good, but Fabianski dropped a goal again. Well, the 2 goals they scored, one was a last-minute counter-attack.
Yeah, true.
And the other one was probably defense should have done better, but Fabianski should have caught it. He didn't. They scored. It's tough. They weren't. I wouldn't go this was a terrible defensive performance. I'd just go, we probably lost this game in the midfield rather than the defense. But one of us didn't lose our game. this game week. Although a
Sure.
shifty red card was necessary to get, Matt's team over the
Oh,
line.
That's very
Oh.
true, actually. It's very
Mm.
true.
Wouldn't say it was shifty, but
Yeah. How much
Oh,
did you
shit.
pay the ref? How much did you pay?
Mate,
How much did you pay Mike Dean at VAR to get
Mate,
Ward-Prowse sent off?
we don't pay Mike Dean. Manchester United pays Mike Dean. All right?
No,
We don't do
that's
any-
not-
We don't
we
do
didn't
nothing
win.
of the sort.
Manchester
you-
United weren't in this game, Matt. It
Yeah.
was just you.
Man United, Mike Dean didn't referee Man United this week. I mean,
At
look
home.
let's just get straight into the game. All right, Chelsea 3, Southampton 1. All right, Chalobah scores off a header, back post, off a corner.
Lucky.
I was going to say good set piece, but yeah,
Lucky.
lucky. Okay, well, whatever you want to say.
Yeah,
Chalobah,
Go watch the
Anthony,
last,
you lost this one. Anthony, you
Mate,
lost this discussion last time.
Chalobah still has more goals than some Premier players in the Premier League. So, well, we'll just leave it at that. Yeah, we conceded a penalty, and James Ward-Prowse, bottom left corner, sunk the penalty. Then we're playing out of the back, and Mendy to Jorginho, and I'd say red card, but these boys would tend to disagree.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go red.
Actually, so I went and watched it both in full time and slow mo. He didn't get anywhere near the ball. He did get it was a it was studs up. It was a studs up tackle.
That's why anytime it studs up, in my mind, it's automatically a red card.
But he didn't actually. It's like where the confusion comes in about what that should be is that for the most part, it was kind of lucky he didn't actually get the player all that much.
Yeah.
And the fall by, I think it was Jorginho was, that's a bit weird. It was like he was sinking into quicksand. It was like, oh no, my ankle. It was like, well, what's going on here, Jorginho?
But he was from memory, he was stretching out to get the ball as well.
Yeah,
so he was already in an awkward position.
I think, it's a borderline red.
Yeah.
I think you could give a yellow for that and say that's a warning.
You were lucky to win the game. Let's put it that way. You were lucky with that red. And it shows because Shitmo Werner scored in the 84th minute.
Yeah, Timo Werner scored
Shitmo Werner. And then Ben Chilwell in the 89th. So you left it late. And I think you only left it late because you didn't know how to break down Southampton.
Look, I just want to say something about that last goal. How many bloody plays does it take to put the ball in the net? Like, I think it's come off. I forgot who was on the right wing. I think maybe it was Mason Mount. Hits the post. Lukaku has a go. Hits the crossbar. Comes back out. Chilwell decently outside the box, maybe about 19 yards out from goal. Has a shot. Gets what it looks like saved, and then he has another chance of it, and it gets reviewed back, and the ball was over the line. Like,
lucky.
Got to be finishing those. Lukaku had to be finishing that. Even the first attempts.
I worry about Lukaku for you guys. I really do. I actually think Lukaku got off to an okay start at United. I actually think I can see Lukaku falling into the same slump that he did at United, in all honesty.
No,
I can see it.
I don't know.
I really
don't know.
can.
The way Tuchel plays, the pieces he has around Lukaku, I think it's taken a bit of time. Granted, he's been in the Premier League before.
It's the fact that Lukaku's a hold-up player. He's only going. He can hold up the ball, keep possession, good shot on him. But if other good players aren't with him making the runs, there's only so much he can do. And Mount has been average.
Not very good at making runs.
Havertz is average. Ziyech doesn't play. Maybe Saul will be a good sort of someone who makes those runs.
He doesn't make the runs.
He does get on the edge of the box for a shot, though.
Yeah, but he can
get on the edge
of
of
other people to make the runs.
So how I imagine,
the way Tuchel ball plays, he's got Jorginho in that regista position, and then that allows he sort of hangs back a little bit, and that allows Mount and Havertz to play up in that 8, and Lukaku can drop back a little bit, and then we have our ball playing centre backs and our wing backs as well. That's how Tuchel ball plays, or it's his
Ziyech should be playing. The fact is, Havertz shouldn't be playing for Chelsea.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, it should be Ziyech.
Ziyech has had good games when he's on, and we haven't played him all that much now, which is a shame because he was a good talent coming into Chelsea, and the games that he's played here have been pretty decent. Yeah. And I mean, we also got to remember that Christian Pulisic has been out with an injury as well, so that's another attacker that we've lacked as well.
No, I get that. All right, well, that'll have to wrap us up for the game reactions. I think Matt's the only one who came out of that with a win. But I think there was a bit of shakiness all round from every single team, even Chelsea, considering they needed a red card to finish that game against the mighty Southampton. But we're going to have to take a break from England now and look at another region of football and go back to La Liga, like our last podcast episode. And today we're talking about Pedri's new contract.
Man.
Would you pay 1.5 billion for Pedri?
You know what?
No, the answer is no, Anthony.
No. The answer is no. But if anything, it shows that Pedri is determined to stay at Barca. Not Barca's determined to keep him. If anything, it shows I think Pedri accepted that contract knowing that he won't ever want to move.
I want to add on to that as well. I think the way that that's valued so high is because of the talent that Pedri is now, and the projection that he's going to be. I mean, he won the Young Player of the Year award. He's looking like he's the next Spanish midfielder coming out. Like looking back at the looking back at the Xavi, the Iniesta days, like he looks like he's going to be the second coming of one of those.
Absolutely,
he's that good. Like his durability, to say the least. I mean, last season, what was it? 40 plus games straight.
And the Euros.
Yeah, and the Euros,
of which he was probably the best player in the whole tournament.
Do you know, though, how many youth players have come through Barcelona and be described as like the next Messi or the next Iniesta?
Yeah, it might be quite a lot, but you look at him and compare.
I think
it's not just calling him and calling him the next Iniesta and him having a couple good games in the La Liga. It's him also doing it on an international level as well. In the Euros, he was probably the best player of the Euros.
Here's the thing: he's usually a team wouldn't. I mean, usually teams don't put that much stock in a young player with that expectation because they realize this trajectory could get thrown off to the side, like injuries with Pedri, especially with his recent injury. You know, that would cause concern, probably suggest mismanagement. But the thing is, right, you talk about the fact that he accepted that contract, that suggests something about him and him wanting to stay at Barcelona. But the fact he was offered 1.5 billion is because Barcelona see him as essential now.
He is essential, absolutely.
They don't see a future for themselves in La Liga unless they find the next Messi. So now they're just praying to God that Pedri's the next Messi.
I don't think so. They definitely it's what they're looking for. But it's not outlandish to say that then he's not Messi. Nobody's ever going to be Messi, right? But they need a mainstay and a staple in their team. They need that they need that man. Pedri is proving to be that man, and he's now been doing it for more than a season. Again, at both, and you can't just say he's doing it against farmers in the Liga. You can't just say he's putting in subpar performances because the man got picked for the Euros, picked for the Spain squad, and now he's outshone everybody in that Spanish squad. And there is still quality in that Spanish squad. Like he is pound for pound, an 18-year-old should not be the best player in the Spanish squad.
Yeah.
He should not be the best player, but he is. And he proved it over not just with a couple games. He proved it over an entire tournament in which everyone thought Spain was done for, and they were reaching the finals.
Yeah.
So
it's for me, the fact that Pedri is this shining light for Barcelona,
worrying.
It's worrying. It is worrying because you shouldn't be putting that much pressure on an 18-year-old. Messi didn't come into Barcelona at his age and go, I'm the best player here. The moment he started, he was surrounded already by superstars in that Barcelona team.
Look,
Major superstars.
To jump in there, Jackson. I mean, do you guys think partly because Barcelona are so lackluster in this money situation as well, that they're having to take a risk like this to invest what they can into Pedri?
That's the thing.
Because that's the thing.
It's not really a risk, but Jackson, the way Jackson's talking is, it can sway one way to another. Like I personally believe Pedri's going to turn out pretty good.
Well, he'll turn out pretty good, but they need him to be the next Messi, because here's the thing, right? This is a wider context thing. This is about the fact that La Liga is not going to be able to compete in global markets and financially with the Premier League. What they need, where they can't get money, is they need the world's greatest players so that they're the league people watch. People watched La Liga for Ronaldo, Bale, Messi, Suarez, Neymar. Yeah, they watched for those players. The La Liga stayed in the competition with the Premier League for so long because of those players.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same. Pedri is as important. Barcelona view Pedri the same way Real Madrid view Mbappe. It's their only hope for being able to compete, to bring the spotlight back to La Liga. If these players don't take over as the next generation, if Haaland becomes the next generational talent and he goes to Man City, it's done.
Yeah.
It's so over.
I mean, I don't want to talk too much about this now. I mean, we could talk about it in another episode or even OT as well. But I think Kylian Mbappe's hit a plateau. We can talk about it a bit more. Just something to mull over. I think he's hit a plateau. I mean, everyone was hyping him up. World Cup, youngest player to win the World Cup. He's won the World Cup. He's won the French league, this, that, and the other. Like he's great. All this stuff like that. But I honestly think he's 22 now, 22, 23. This is supposed to be his prime. Like these next few years, he's supposed to be hitting top. I don't see it.
I think that's a little harsh. I think he wants to go to Real Madrid to pick things back up. I think he knows that himself, and he wants to go to Real Madrid.
I don't think it's that harsh, because he's been the wonder boy for so many years.
Yeah, this isn't his prime. This isn't his prime, Matt. His prime is going to be 6 years from now.
Well, I mean, the way people have been hyping him up the last 4 or 5 years, it's sounding like it should be his prime now, or he should be getting up to it.
People talk about him the same way they used to talk about Messi. And Messi was doing that from a young age. But again, aside from that, I actually think I think we might have brought it up on a podcast a couple of weeks ago. Let us know in the comments or reach out on social media if you remember. Mbappe is sort of like Ronaldinho, right? He had a long career, but it wasn't a good career after the first few years, right? So he got that big move to Barca, and he was the top dog, right? He was just phenomenal. Similar to Mbappe, he did really well at Monaco, got his big move to PSG, did bits in those first 2 years, and now he's dropped off. And I can see Mbappe going the same way that Ronaldinho's career did. He's going to be really good for a few years. He's going to drop off exponentially, and then he'll end up committing a crime. He'll end up faking his passport.
And the fact is, linking back to Pedri, like a Wayne Rooney figure, the way that Barcelona will depend on him will mean he's going to play every single game. He's already suffered one injury from overexertion from being played every game. It could happen. It could happen. And the fact is, from what I've read, like the kid, he's got no self-control himself. Like he wants to play every single game, but it's just not healthy for him. You
can't fault his determination, but
I was just about to say
there's wanting to play every minute, like Messi does. There's wanting to play every minute, and then there's playing smart, right? You look at someone like, he's not Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's not the kind of guy that can play 50 games a season every season and not get injured until he's at Manchester United.
Yeah.
I don't want Pedri. I don't want Pedri at Manchester United. I don't want him to come and get injured and then piss off to America, right? I want him to have a long, prosperous career because I really, really enjoy watching the kid play. As I said, he was the best player I saw in that Spain squad. He's the best player at the Euros, and he's not the best player at Barca yet, I wouldn't think, but he's getting there. He's not the most. Let me rephrase. He's not the most instrumental person at Barcelona yet. He's a mainstay. He will be their best and most instrumental if he keeps on this trajectory, but he's not at that level yet, right? He needs continuous minutes, but he needs to pace himself. Same way Messi did. He wasn't the best player at Barcelona in his first season. He had superstars around him, right? Barcelona don't have superstars anymore. I don't know if you called Depay a superstar or Dembele a superstar.
Or Fati.
I wouldn't anymore, at least. But Pedri will get there. He just needs to watch himself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've given a good verdict then on that one. Keep an eye on that.
I agree. I think give us a year and there'll probably be an OT on how Pedri is the best player in Europe. So,
best midfielder.
Best midfielder. Yeah.
Overtaking KDB and Conte the next session.
Well, I put him just to close it off. I put him in the top 5 in Europe at the moment. Honestly,
I put him in the top 5.
His creativity and the way he can control the tempo of a game is phenomenal. It's like the Cameron Smith of Barcelona.
All right. We're done here. We're gonna leave that be. That's unacceptable.
I compared the greatest NRL player of all time to Pedri.
Yeah, what the
stop drinking.
That's disrespectful to Pedri.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, watch yourself. I'll kick you out.
All right.
Thank you guys for watching Secure the Bag. This has been Matt's last podcast. Say goodbye.
Hey, I'm in control here.
That's all right.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
All right,
let's move on.
We're not done talking about young talent though. We're going from Pedri and Mbappe to Haaland.
I'm glad you didn't say young boys because I would have been triggered by that.
Oh, you would have been triggered. I'm doing you a favor. I'm not using your trigger word, okay?
Think so.
All right. So today we're talking about Haaland. So we have reports that Riola Mina Raiola is meeting with Manchester City in January. Now, we know that Haaland's got a pretty minimal release clause for the kind of player he is by the summer.
Yeah,
but maybe Man City are going to jump in early. Yeah, 60. I think 68. It's about that. Yeah. And when you think about it, of course, he's of course worth that. Now, if you're Man City and you didn't get Kane, this seems like the right transfer. It does to me. I think this makes sense.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. They missed out on the best striker in the Premier League by Ronaldo, who doesn't count at the moment. They missed out on the best striker in the Premier League, so let's get the best striker in the Bundesliga.
I mean,
except for Lewandowski.
Harry Kane was a really good performer this year though with Spurs. So I don't know if that's sort of a good thing that Man City didn't buy him, or if that's a result of Man City not buying him. But anyway, we're here to talk about Haaland. So one of the best young talents in the Bundesliga and in the world. So yeah, I don't see why they don't. I don't see why they don't pass up on him and they get him. Like that's a great opportunity for a player to move to a big name club in Manchester, probably the bigger club in Manchester. But...
No, not bigger, more successful in the modern era.
They don't have a reactive fan base.
The thing about
they don't have a fan base. Continue.
It makes the most sense. It doesn't make sense to go to Real Madrid if Real Madrid are going for Mbappe. It doesn't make sense to go to Manchester United until Ronaldo's gone. Mm-hmm. Doesn't make sense to go to Chelsea after Lukaku. Doesn't make sense to go to Serie A because they're bad. Doesn't make sense to go to Barcelona, really? I don't think that's a club you really want to do.
Barcelona have the... The Barcelona have the funds to even get him, though.
They can afford 68 mil because they'll make that.
But
back.
His wages
are an issue, yeah.
But the thing is, there's only one other team that would fit Haaland better than Man City.
You better not say.
Don't say West Ham.
No, you better not say Newcastle either.
No. Bayern Munich.
I was going to say that
as the heir to Lewandowski.
See, I think I brought this up on a shameless plug again. Let us know. But I think I brought this up a few weeks ago. Why does Haaland not because Bayern is a perfect place for Haaland.
Hmm.
Lewandowski's only got 2 more years in him, and let's say Haaland spends 1 year, even 6 months under Lewandowski, learning what he does, because he is probably the best striker in the world at the moment, most clinical at least. All right, why would he not want to do that? Why would he not go, okay, so I'm scoring 42 goals in 44 games or whatever it is now, I'm not sure, but I'm scoring a goal a game over my professional career at Dortmund. Why do I not go to Bayern, watch how the best striker in the world plays, adopt his traits, then fit seamlessly into that team?
Yeah.
As in, it's not even a hard transition.
It makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
It does.
I just don't think Bayern would pay his wages, though. They won't pay his wages. No.
But they'd have Lewandowski off the books. It goes straight back into Haaland.
But here's the thing. No, here's the thing, though. Based on the demands of Raiola and Haaland right now, Haaland wants to become the highest paid player in Europe.
Well, he has to go to Newcastle then if he wants that.
Yeah, but there's the thing. Bayern are not going to throw their wage structure out the window for Haaland. There is no way.
What do you mean?
Man City
Haaland wants to be the most expensive player in Europe.
Haaland wants to be the most highest paid. He wants to be paid $1 million a week. Those are the kind of figures we're talking about.
Does he?
Yeah. That's why he actually met up. So Raiola and Haaland went to meet with representatives from Barcelona and Real Madrid, and they both said, we can't pay those wages. So he went there, and here's the thing. I think that's a bit of Raiola saying, under me, you can get the best deal. Bayern won't pay that. Man City might pay that. Manchester United might.
Man City
but Bayern will. Bayern have principles. Well, they are not going to overthrow their wage structure for Haaland. They're going to say, you get in line.
Not when you've got club legends running the club.
Yeah, no.
They won't let the club go to shambles.
Bayern won't let the club go to shambles, but at the same time, you look at the history between Bayern and Dortmund. It's always been Bayern has bought players from Dortmund, and they've brought them to Bayern, and they've turned out to be arguably better players at Bayern than they are at Dortmund. So
correct, they do it all the time.
They do it all the time.
Bayern thing. Look, didn't they just get Sabitzer and Upamecano?
Yeah, but they do not. Haaland does not get to walk into that Bayern squad and get to be paid twice as much as any other player in that. He doesn't get to. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. You don't get that by being a young, good talent. You don't get to be paid $1 million a week. That is arrogance. I honestly think clubs should 44
games.
No, yeah, but Bayern. That's the thing. Dortmund. This is the trick, though. Dortmund play to advertise players. They play an attacking form of football that gets the most out of players to advertise them for big money moves.
But let me counter. Sorry, Matt.
No, go for it.
Just a quick 10-second counter. Bayern do that as well, but not to. But they don't do it to advertise.
Yeah, exactly.
Bayern are able to do it because they've got the best players in the league by far, because they just buy them all, right?
Yeah.
So Bayern can do that, but Haaland is doing that at a worse.
Bayern are more balanced. Bayern are more balanced because they actually play good defensive football as well. Dortmund are terrible. Dortmund are a terrible team, but they play pretty football because that makes their players look good for clips.
But if Haaland can do it in their attractive kind of fake football, surely Bayern at that point go, let's take, and don't forget, Haaland's lost Sancho on the right. He's still got Bellingham in the middle, but he's lost his main creator in Sancho. Torgan Hazard's getting older. Like, the players around him aren't getting better. He's getting better.
And I don't see
slots straight into that Bayern squad. And at that point, you say, well, if that Dortmund side is going to get worse without Haaland because the players around him are getting worse, at that point, Bayern goes, okay, let's not even bother about the league anymore. We're going to win that regardless now because there's nobody to compete. Like, Havertz is gone. Now Haaland isn't with Dortmund. Like, okay, we've got the best squad in the league. not by a little, but now by a long shot. There's nobody, not a single individual that can compete with us on a team level or a player level. So let's put all our eggs into the Champions League basket. Right? Is that not worth £1 million a week? Or
but they won't.
€1 a week?
The principle of it, they will never pay that. They will not give you that.
The principle, they won't never pay it. But the thing is, he's scoring or averaging almost like a goal a game. Yeah. So, that's all well and good and stuff like that. But sometimes you just got to get hit with that reality check. Like, you're a good, young, prosperous player, but you're not going to get $1 million a week because
I agree.
It's too easy to get caught up in like English football where they just just throw money at players and like expect. Bayern don't do that. Bayern do not operate that kind of football.
They're very calculated with the way
they are. I agree.
If Haaland went to Bayern and demanded to get paid over $1 million a week, Bayern would say, "Shove off, lad."
Yeah, they're winning already. They don't need him.
No, they're a big contender for the Champions League without him. They'll win the league without him. They're not going to upset the whole team by giving some young, arrogant Norwegian double the pay of anyone else and like upset the team dynamic. They won't.
I haven't read these asking for $1 million, but I believe you. But Lewandowski's on 350. All right.
Yeah.
If he asks for 500, is that really unreasonable?
If Haaland did,
maybe 450. Maybe 450.
I think he demands that in that Bayern squad. He would demand it. If he could prove after the first run of 10 games, if he continues that scoring, so let's say they bought him mid-year, right? It would never happen. Let's say he came in January and they go, okay, well, he's not going to stop scoring because he's already on form. Like, he demands that higher wage. He would, and don't forget, Neuer's not going to be there for much longer either.
Yeah, but you think about Neuer's not going to be there for much longer, but you still got guys like I think they've still got to get Gnabry on the wing. They've got Joshua Kimmich, Sane.
I think Sane's their third most expensive player.
Alphonso Davies, Leon Goretzka.
But you've also got Lucas Hernandez, who's the 5th highest earner at the club, who is now in jail. So there's money.
Even if, here's the thing, I still think even if he asked for 500,000, Bayern would be very skeptical of actually giving him that amount.
To pay it, I agree.
Yeah,
he would demand
and
it
it's
in
half.
the Premier League.
He would, absolutely. But the Premier League has the money. I don't even think Bayern are able to do those sort of wages. So Bayern don't have that much financial capital. They don't. They're relatively clever with their money. It's more like a Leicester situation where they don't actually have all that much funding, but they pick right.
It's also, they know that they can get players because players want to go to Bayern.
Yeah, exactly.
So the players at some point, Upamecano would have just said, "Oh, Bayern want me. I'm just not going to play for you anymore. Like, you can keep me, but I'm just going to put in shit performances and make the team lose until you send me to Bayern." And so Bayern gets them for cheap.
Bayern with their players, they buy clinical players, they buy versatile players that can play other positions, not just one. Like, we've seen it with Joshua Kimmich. He started as a right back, I believe it was, and now he's a CDM now.
Best CDM in the world, nearly.
They go for the players they know are versatile and can come out to compete within that.
Look at Goretzka. Started as a CDM. Now, I've seen him play centre-back. I've seen him play up forward or like further up in the midfield. Like, man's versatile. And
you've got to give credit to their strength and conditioning section as well. Look at some of the players that have come through, especially Leon Goretzka. He's come through the start of his career. He was skinny as a stick, and now look at him. It looks like he pumps weights like in his sleep. Like, their off-field strength and conditioning is top tier. But let's bring it back to our original statement. Look, Haaland going to City. What do you guys think? Does he go there, or what team would you guys think he'd go to? Final verdict.
That's the thing. It's the only team he can go to. Because for me, none of the other moves make sense, and Bayern won't pay it. So it's got to be Man City for me.
It'll be Man. He'll go to Man City, and I think we're all forgetting the really crucial part of it. piece of information. The photo of him as a kid in the City shirt. I mean, and even more so, his father played for Manchester City for 2 years.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Everything kind of lines up.
I mean,
You got the money, you got the fan, you got the the
Yeah,
heritage
and-
with the father. Everything kind of falls, and Manchester City need a striker.
And if I recall, Roy Keane turned his father into a vegetable.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I thought he nearly broke his leg.
yeah.
Or did.
So I mean,
The
redemption.
rivalry's there. Yeah.
If he can get to England and try and murder Roy Keane for legal purposes, that was a joke. I'm sure he'd take the opportunity. I'm sure he'd have way more influences telling him to go to City than anywhere else.
Yeah.
Look, I honestly think he's going to go to City. Just the way both of you guys have spoken. I have the same reasoning as all of you, but the only way I can see that different is if the money standpoint starts to get to his head. Then we'll see someone like Newcastle starting to appear with look, don't laugh at me, all right? Like their capital, Newcastle's capital with their new owners. I think I read somewhere, out of all the capital in the Premier League, it makes up about 85% of the Premier League's capital. So they're
now the richest club on earth.
Yeah, they can't buy.
They have 300 billion to play with.
They can get Haaland and they can build pieces around him.
I can't wait till Haaland is playing for Newcastle against like Bristol City in like the championship.
That Haaland and Mbappe partnership is going to be the deadliest on earth.
Look, what I'm saying is, if it's a money standpoint, I mean, Newcastle can provide that money standpoint for it.
Can.
He won't be the
most
first.
outlandish thing I've ever seen.
He won't be the first though. A couple other big players would have to make that move for money first, and then he would think about it. I think you need someone who's a little more greedy.
I mean,
historically greedy.
They've got a big player like Alan St. Maximin there. Like,
actually, you know what? You put good players around Alan. I know we all hate him. We don't think he's class at all. I reckon if
not on his own.
Yeah,
if you put decent players around him, holy shit, that man could thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, that wraps up our conversation on Haaland, Mbappe, and Pedri, the youth of tomorrow, the next intergenerational talents. And now for something a little different, we haven't had a chance to talk about our fantasy football teams for quite a while, actually.
No, we haven't.
And there's been some major developments. The leading competitor in our mini league has fallen to shreds. Suffering an injury crisis like Liverpool. It's crazy.
Ashik's lost it, mate.
It's crazy.
He broke ahead out in the first week. I think he was ahead by what was it, like 40 points or something?
He was. I was.
Anthony and Ashik were way ahead with 40 points.
You two broke ahead from the rest of us, and then now Ashik's fallen, mate. He's in third place. Anthony's in second. I'm in first. Jackson's in fourth, and then one of our other mates, Linus, is in fifth. And like he's just having a shocker. He's just injuries left and right. You can argue that he copied Anthony's team. That's why.
Now you're both doing terrible.
I make fantastic Premier League fantasy teams.
Well, not anymore.
I do. It's just early in the season.
I'm telling you. If you want to keep an eye on me, I got the most points last game week of any player at 63.
I got 62, mate.
I got 63.
Just
I got 60. I got 60.
And Ashik got like 40. But I think what we should talk about, is the injuries, because there's a lot of injuries to like sort of concerning. I don't know if you guys got your teams up right now, but I can tell you I've got 4 potential injuries, like 75% chance of playing kind of injuries. I've got Alexander-Arnold, Jota, Lukaku, and Gabriel Jesus, all 75% chance of playing this game week.
I've got one injury, Trent Alexander-Arnold, 75% chance playing, and I've still got Obafemi on my bench who got transferred to Swansea. Those are my two.
Now, if you've got these players though in your team, So especially I'll talk about Alexander-Arnold and Jota for anyone listening.
Yeah,
who's
I've got
got
Alexander-Arnold as well.
I'd keep them because the reports right now is they are back in training with the team. So it's not a serious problem.
He doesn't get serious injuries often, right?
No.
Only
So
his groin,
yeah. Lukaku's the same. Lukaku is back in training with Chelsea. So that injury is not too bad. And Gabriel Jesus is just international duty. I don't know what his injury is actually.
No, he's not injured. He's it's because he's Brazil.
Yeah. So what's going on there? I'm not sure. I brought him in as a transfer, as a free transfer, because he's been racking in the points when they have used him. But whether he plays, like I can imagine one of those players will not play, at least one of them, and I actually think it's Lukaku.
Yeah, I could say that.
He needs a rest.
Yeah, he does need a rest as well. So I think Tuchel's like makes sense.
Yeah, and we are playing Brentford this week, so
yeah, it's a chance.
So you're going to lose to Brentford, and you can't blame it on Lukaku when you lose to Brentford either.
But I mean, I think we should bring up a player each that we think is really going to shine this week. A player we can recommend to people watching
this week.
Okay. This week, eh?
Yeah.
So I mean, the obvious shout is Ronaldo, but we're not going to. No. We'll steer clear of Ronaldo
every week.
Every week's a good week for Ronaldo, to be honest. I don't know. You've got some probably big scoring games like Man City versus Burnley, Chelsea, Brentford,
Liverpool, Watford.
Yeah, Liverpool, Watford as well, to be fair.
And they've only just got brought in Claudio Ranieri. This could be like he's not quite in the gig yet. He hasn't set him up like he wants to.
And Watford are in shambles at the moment, don't forget. Their mentality's all over the place.
The thing about this is, so if I'd recommend one player, it's going to be from that Liverpool-Watford game, and it's actually going to be Jota. If Jota plays this game week, so FPL classes him as a midfielder, which means he gets boosts from clean sheets as well as goals and assists. So what you actually think is that if Liverpool win that game like 3-0, 4-0 or something like that, which is totally feasible,
absolutely,
he will score. He will absolutely score and assist, and he will get a clean sheet bonus. He can easily be, if you captain him, he's easily a 24, 25 point player. Depending on whether Salah's also a good option because he's also a midfielder. He also gets goals and assists, but the two often contribute to each other. So either one or the other.
Correct. I was going to pick Salah, but since you brought him up, I'm probably going to go for somebody I don't have in my team, actually. Seeing as Gabby Jesus is out,
Yep,
I'm a little bit worried about where the goals are going to come from. City are go up against Burnley. They're just going to demolish Burnley. It's just going to happen. Like there's no pussyfooting around it. But I can see somebody like De Bruyne having a really good game with assists. But I'm actually going to go for Ferran Torres.
That's good.
Again, he's been a bit off and on, pretty instrumental sometimes in their attack. But Ferran Torres, I think, is going to have a pretty good game if he's in the middle.
Yeah.
If Ferran Torres is in the middle, and it's going to be too late to know, but if Torres is in the middle, he's going to have a cracking game against Burnley. I think he's just what City need. But again, either KDB or Ferran Torres.
And if you were recommending either of those players to someone watching, how many points do you reckon they'll rack up uncaptained in this game week?
Uncaptained, KDB would probably get maybe 14-ish, right? If he gets a couple of good assists. Ferran Torres, if he plays up front, because KDB is not going to score from that false nine, right? He's just going to make the chances for everyone else. Ferran Torres, if he's playing up front, if they play like a 4-3-3, easily like 26, 28, he'd score like 2 or 3 goals minimum.
Yep.
And I think he's clever enough on the ball to get an assist as well. I really rate Ferran Torres. I don't know where he came from. Pep just seemingly bought him, right? Like no one knew why, but he slots him well because he's not a traditional striker. He just does well.
It's like Pep found him on Football Manager and was like, "Let's bring him."
Also, you know what? Can I suggest for anyone in 2025, do not buy Robert Lewandowski for your Barcelona squad because you need a striker because you sold Griezmann. and Suarez. Definitely don't sign Lewandowski because he's shit on Football Manager. Anyway, side note, Matt, give us a player, man, and points. Give us a little game player points.
Yeah, look, just before I give that, I'm just going to say that we'll be starting a Football Manager like sim mode.
Yes,
as another series. So stay tuned for that.
Comments. Let us know in comments what you want to see. Teams, player transfers. Chuck us in on social media. Chuck us a message. Shameless plug. That's 3 of them now.
Yeah, that's it. So
we got 2 more to go.
Yeah. So my play for this week, I've actually moved away from the attacking side like you guys have, and I've gone more defensive. I've gone a ex-Chelsea academy player, now loaned out to Southampton, Tino Livermento. Now, he's playing this week against Leeds. Over the past, let's say, five weeks or so, he's averaged, I'd say, about 5 points a game in Fantasy League. Playing against Leeds, this is not a bad shout. He has been playing very good for Southampton. So I do not see him getting less than about 3 or 4 points this week. Maybe about 4 points. I mean, it's not the big name. It's not the big names that you guys are talking about before.
But for a player of his cost, it's a really good turnout if he gets you 5 points a week.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's only 4.2.
Yeah,
and just looking at my results for the past game weeks, I've had him since the start of the season.
Yeah,
4 points, 2 points, 5 points, 6 points. Like he's other than the first two games of the season where he got 2 points, like 1 and 2 points. He's starting to increase and rack up some points. So knock on wood, the price that he's at and the production that he's making for Southampton and the points he's grabbing for fantasy, I see him as a good shout for that back line. If you can always bring him in as a player, on the bench, or you can put him in the starting lineup like what I have. Yeah, he is that player. He's a bit cheaper, but with the way he's going,
the only thing that's kind of worrying, especially this week. Southampton lost both their games against the Whites last season, so they lost both games to Leeds.
From my understanding,
Leeds have won more Premier League games against Southampton than any other club. Southampton haven't won a game this season.
From my recollection, Leeds, correct me if I'm wrong, Leeds still have a few players on their injury list this week.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah,
and Rafinha is probably not going to be able to play because of Brazil.
But Southampton are in a permanent injury crisis because they're bad. They might as well have all their best players injured because they sold all their best players. So
correct.
It's what's the difference?
That's true.
Southampton have been able to cover up how bad they've been because of a couple draws against teams that didn't really show up well.
True.
They haven't won a game. They got pretty convincingly beaten by Wolves.
But they were the giant slayers for the better part of a few weeks this season.
They're not giant slayers. They're just taking points away from them, right?
Yeah. Well, the games that should have been won, but by Manchester United, by the Leicester.
Yeah, easy wins that count in the long run. They've lost to.
If they draw 28 games out of 38, they'll still get relegated.
Correct. You need to start winning games.
I mean,
shouldn't have got rid of Danny Ings.
You look at they're 17th at the moment, 4 points, but Norwich is down there, 1 point. Burnley's down there. They've got to go this season. I mean, realistically, boys, they've been on the cusp of relegation the last 2 years, Burnley. 3 years.
Newcastle's down there as well.
Newcastle, they're
the richest club in the world.
I want them to get relegated.
Honestly, could you imagine the scenes? Haaland, Mbappe, Neymar, they'd all be playing in Championship.
Mate.
Oh my God.
Your Tuesday night, Newcastle featuring Haaland and Mbappe versus Luton Town.
Imagine not even Neuer in the Championship. My God.
No, it's Haaland and Mbappe playing at the Den while a bunch of Millwall fans throw horse poop at them.
No.
Oh man.
And then they tell the camera, it's as a kid I always dreamed of playing against Millwall for Newcastle.
I've always wanted to play for Newcastle.
Yeah, I always wanted to play for Newcastle. It was a
Manuel
dream.
Neuer's he's just holding off. Manuel Neuer had inside information. He's like, oh yeah, I know Newcastle getting bought in the next 20 years. I'm gonna just bide my time at this small club and go to the biggest club in the world.
Oh, absolutely. All right. And so unfortunately, we are running out of time. So before we wrap up, we'll give our predictions for the upcoming games.
Yep.
And we will start with Leicester versus Manchester United. Yeah. So I actually think Leicester are doing really awfully this season. Injury crisis has sort of done it. Vardy looks like well off the pace. Even though he's got a couple goals, the teams that he's scored against haven't been particularly good.
Doesn't count.
Yeah, Norwich doesn't count. But the thing is, I think based off that, Manchester United will win. I think they'll win 2-0. And my hot take of the week is that De Gea will earn at least 5 points on FPL, by which I mean I think he'll keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, I'll go next. 3-1 Manchester United win.
Yeah.
I see their centre-back pairings are the best centre-back pairing for United isn't there at the moment. And granted, Leicester have had their injuries, but like you put Lindelof as a centre-back pairing with anyone really, and I think Vardy slips through them and possibly scores against De Gea. But
you're sleeping on Lindelof, man.
Look, maybe, but look, other than that, I think Man United would just outclass Leicester. But I do see a wayward goal from Leicester this game.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, no, I don't agree. I have faith, and we're going to get into our hot takes. And Jackson, we already gave it. We'll get into our hot takes after these match predictions. But I mean.
No, Anthony, don't leave the crowds waiting. Give it now. You're about to make your game.
It's suspense. It's all
your
about
hot
suspense.
take is very relevant to this game prediction.
Okay, all right. I actually think Manchester United's going to win 4-0. And I think that I think they're going to win. No, I think they're going to win 4-1 because again, that partnership isn't looking great. But yeah, my hot take is Man United will score 3 goals this week.
At least 3 goals?
Yeah, at least 3 goals. Yeah.
At least 3 goals. Okay. All right. Easy enough.
I think it'll be 4-1. I think United are going to bounce back stronger than ever, and I'm going to have egg on my face when it doesn't work. Like Lindelof and Eric Bailly aren't a bad partnership. Leave them alone. Bailly will get injured next game, and then we'll be stuffed. We'll go to like a 3 at the back with nobody. Yeah.
Nope,
fair enough. Just pack the midfield. It's a high line. Yeah.
Centre back.
Keep Fred in there.
Park the bus. What do we say? Park the bus. Mourinho better than Sir Alex Ferguson.
Hey, yep. He said it twice. He must believe it now.
Yeah.
I miss Mourinho.
Well, Matt, don't feel too full of yourself because you guys are playing Brentford this time, and I think you guys are going to draw that game. 1-1 against Brentford.
Oh, that's a bold statement. Yeah. Look, I'll go next. I think Chelsea's going to win 2-0 against Brentford. A bit contrasting to Jackson's view. I mean, I can see Tuchel resting Lukaku this week, but I don't think that takes away from our I guess struggling attack.
It does if he plays Werner instead of Lukaku.
Look, it's all dependent on the lineup. Right, it's all dependent on the day on the lineup. I mean, we've got some players that we should be playing that are on the bench, but I don't know what goes through Tuchel's mind sometimes. But I trust the man. So
okay,
we just have to wait and see.
I don't know actually. It just means nothing to me because whatever. It's probably going to be a pretty shitty game. It's always a shit game when you're watching Chelsea.
Sorry, what?
I'm sorry, what? Tommy Tuchel, biggest faker, biggest fraud.
Worst midfielder in the world, Fred.
No, I agree with you on that. You were preaching to the choir. No, I think Chelsea are going to win this one pretty convincingly, even though it's away. Lukaku will probably need to be rested, if not this week, then next week. You've got Brentford and Norwich. They'll probably rest Lukaku this week. Probably won't stop you though. 4-0.
Oh, fair enough.
Well,
Cheers.
I think it's going to be a huge. I think you guys are just going to run the floor with Brentford. You're not Arsenal. You're not Arsenal.
That's true. That's very true.
And nobody's as bad as West Ham. So
Oh, yeah.
it was coming. It was coming. It was coming.
We'll see about that one. Well, speaking of West Ham, that just leaves Everton versus West Ham. I was thinking we were going to lose this one. Then I heard Digne might be injured, and for me, that's like an instrumental player for Everton. I like if Calvert-Lewin isn't playing, Richarlison isn't playing, and Digne isn't playing. That's not bad, actually. I think that's a very winnable game all of a sudden. Matt wouldn't think so. Matt thinks Decore is going to carry Everton over the line.
Look, yeah, well, you revealed my hot take early, mate. What are you doing? I didn't do that to you, but yeah, I think Everton's going to win. I think Decore is going to contribute to a goal. You look at the last two games so far. Decore assisted Andros Townsend on his superb goal at Manchester United at Old Trafford. Not to mention his great celebration as well in the corner. But also Decore scored the game before as well. So look, I don't the way Decore is playing, I don't think it's a bad shout that he will contribute to a goal.
Well, I think the other players aren't there. It's got to be Decore. Who else can it be?
By a technicality, he's going to get a goal or an assist.
I mean, I could have went Damari Gray as well. You guys are pretty high on Damari Gray. I mean, I reckon he's a
good player.
But I'm going with Decore this week. I'm going 2-1 where Everton win.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have as much confidence. I think probably 1-1 again. Everton probably have enough quality to keep it, quality at the back to keep it draw. But don't have enough quality going forward.
Yerry Mina. Really? Yerry Mina?
I don't think Yerry Mina is a bad player at all. He's a bit slow.
Dude's dumb as a brick. Did you see him against Manchester United? Any player with a brain does not wander offside for that goal.
Yeah, but you have the pressure of playing Manchester United on Trafford.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
no, I actually think it's going to be 1-1 because I don't think West Ham have looked very good in the last couple of weeks. Especially last week against Brentford. I think that's going to run amok in your players' heads. So
we'll see.
It'll either be a draw or a really convincing win. That's all I'm going to say. Like you won't scrape by 1-0. I can't see that happening. You'll either get 3 or 4 goals and Antonio will come back to form and might get injured. I don't know. But
it's not going to.
I think it's 1-1. I think
it's not going to be how West Ham traditionally plays with that that counter-attacking football. They have some games this season that have taken charge and taken charge of the game. But Jackson said it before. Most of the time they sit back and wait for other teams to make mistakes, and then they counter on that.
Yeah. Well, for that exact reason, I think we're going to have to attack them and win 1-0.
Really?
We don't score 2-3 goals when we play that style. We only score at max 2, usually 1. So I think we will win 1-0. That's my call on that game. So I'm actually taking the different approach.
Okay.
But on that, we've all given our predictions, and that's going to have to be us for this week. So keep an eye on the game weeks. Let us know how well we did, and we'll be seeing you guys next time. Peace.
Catch you later.
Sue Townsend.